why am I using the word civilization only for Indus Valley people, and why I'm not using this word for Vedic cultured people? Because civilization is more materialistic, and as I said, bending the nature to give facilities to ourselves is civilization that you can find in Indus Valley. But whereas I'm saying those people who lived in Indus Valley, they have constructed houses, roads, underground drainage, many things. But you will not find all those things in Vedic culture. People were they were not that sophisticated. They were advanced in few things like language was not there for Indus Valley, but language was there. They have purified their language, and they have observed the nature, and whatever their observations were, they have put it in the form of Vedas, and they have shared it with next generation. This is the culture of Vedic people, Vedic culture people. But they don't have the knowledge of constructing cities. Vedic culture people don't have knowledge of constructing cities. They lived in villages. They did not do business, international business, what we call international business, that is business between various civilizations, different civilizations. For example, Indus Valley people they did business with Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is present day Iran, Iraq. Okay, but these Vedic culture people, we don't have any proofs to say that they have done business with any other civilization. But we have proofs that they were, I'll say, cattle breeders, and we knew many things because of their, I'm say, knowledge, which is shared in the form of Vedas, the religious beliefs. They used to worship nature, but not in the form of Mother Nature, which is a prevalent practice in Indus Valley civilization. These Vedic cultured people belonging to Vedic culture, they worshipped the forces of nature in their own form. For example, Agni, Varuna, Vayu, and they also worshipped protectors like Indra. Indra is also known as destroyer of cities. Then why do they worship? Because Indra was maybe destroying other cities, but he was protecting them. So they worshipped him. They did not only worship the forces of nature, but also those individuals who protected them. And they worshipped cow. They revered cow. Why? Because cow was in many ways useful to them. Because these people were living in villages, they don't have this technology to lay roads or pavements or construct buildings. So they used different things, like in Telugu or in Sanskrit we call Panchagavya, and it is cow dung, urine, the milk. All those things are useful to human beings. How? They used to mix cow dung with water, and they used to sprinkle it in front of their houses, which keeps them safe. How? Dust will not come. This cow dung, when mixed with water and sprinkled, then it acts. It's like a layer, a flat and soft layer, which will stop dust from raising. And they used to use milk for various things. They can drink milk. They can, uh, what should I say, uh, use it for ghee, curd. Everything comes from this milk only. So there were different beliefs, social beliefs and religious beliefs. But few things were common. Like as I said, they worship nature. These people also were worshipping nature, but in different forms. They were doing business. These people, they never had, and said they don't know what business is. But barter system was there. But what I'm talking about is international business with other civilizations. They were also communicating, but we can't decipher their language. These people, that means Vedic culture people, they have language which is sophisticated, which is well structured. We understand it, so we know many things about these people. And the observations or the knowledge, whatever they have gained, they have shared it with next generations in the form of Vedas. In the beginning, there were only three Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda. Each Veda has got a specific kind of knowledge. Then after some time comes the fourth Veda, that is Atharvana Veda. We'll discuss about all these things in detail in my next class. But let us have a discussion on their culture, how their culture was. So we knew about their financial these things, how this whole society was. Society was patriarchal. In Indus Valley civilization, we don't get any idea as to whether the father was leading the house or mother was given much more importance in the house, or men were given more importance in the society or women. We don't have any idea. But we can say is people were, men and women both were having long hair. They used to dress like anything. I'm saying they gave utmost importance to their attire, dress, looks, hairstyles, different hairstyles. But here in Indus Valley, say, Vedic culture, people were much about, they were concentrating much about their knowledge, their philosophical ideas, but they never give much importance to their attire, their looks. That is the difference. So the knowledge, whatever they gain, it is shared in the form of Vedas. But they were, and so they did not give much importance to their clothes or their dressing, or they did not. We have no proof that they used something like facial creams or powders. And the society was giving much more importance to father. We call it patriarchal society. Why? Because people used to assume father's name. That means Gotra, which we call now. That practice has started, but it doesn't mean that they stopped giving importance to women. Women were still having importance in the society, but they confined themselves to the household activities. Those who wanted to learn, they were given a chance, like Indrani, Maitreyi, Lopamudra. There are other names. All these women were learned women. Are you following me?
Yes,
Even
yes.
though the society was patriarchal, what I'm trying to say is women were also given equal status. Those who wanted to study, they were given that chance. And people, as I have given you few names, like I said, Lopamudra, the wife of Agastya. She's a scholar of Vedic culture. Indrani is another scholar. Maitreyi, another scholar, women scholar. They have also studied Vedas. They have also studied Upanishads. So don't believe if somebody says that we have discrimination. Those whoever was interested, they were allowed to study, irrespective of their being male or female or their caste. We don't have caste system. Actually, in those days, people never practiced caste system. Of course, there was division based on knowledge, personal hygiene, their moral and ethical values. These were the things which were considered for dividing people or for showing discrimination. But as Europeans said, there was no discrimination based on caste, because there is a Haiman in Rig Veda which says that the person who wrote that shloka or Haiman, he is saying that I am a poet. That means he's a Brahmin. Actually, if what we believe now is correct, then only Brahmins were given study. But it is not true. To prove my point, I am giving you an example. The writer says that I am a poet. My father is a doctor. My brother is a carpenter. My mother works in different houses. So will a Brahmin wife work in other's house? No. Will a Brahmin's son or a Brahmin boy do this carpentry work? No. Then how come they belong to one single family? That means it depends. It depends on their intellectual capacity. The person, I mean, say the poet, he could not learn medicine from his father, but he learned reading and writing. So he wrote something. So he's a kavi or a poet. His father, he was also having knowledge. He has also studied, but he could not. What should I say? He cannot create poetry. But he was good at medicine, so he was practicing that. His brother was having. He doesn't have that much intellectual capacity, but he has got some skill. So he started carpentry. So the division in the society was there, and it will be there forever. It cannot be removed. But this division, as the European says, it was not based on religion, or it's not based on caste. It is based purely on intellectual capacity. It is purely based on moral values, or ethical values, or character, I should say. And it was also based on hygiene, personal hygiene. I'll give you an example. Ravana Asura, we call him Asura. Actually, we don't even consider him as a human being. We are calling him a demon. Asura means demon. Ravana Asura. This we have added this suffix Asura to his name. His original name was Ravana Brahma. That means he was a Brahmin. Now you can understand the Indian culture. What do we give importance? Do we give importance to birth? If it is so, then we should have called him Ravana Brahma itself. But most of us don't know that his original name was Ravana Brahma. We call him Ravanasura. We don't even call him Ravan. We call him Ravanasura. Why we are saying that, treating him or calling him Asura? Why we are not treating him as a human being? Because of his character, his moral values, his ethical values, ethics. That was the culture of India, ancient India, right? So the Vedic culture, people of Vedic culture, they were giving utmost importance to their knowledge, languages, philosophical thought, scientific observation, rational thinking, but not to the business or their looks, their beard, all those things. Whereas in Indus Valley civilization, they gave utmost importance to their looks, their dresses, their hairstyles, beard styles. That is the difference, right? So in Indus Valley civilization, people started worshipping forces of nature. Agni, Varuna, Vayu, and along with that, they started worshipping their protectors, Indra. Then after some time, that means again Vedic period also can be described as latter Vedic period and Vedic period. In latter Vedic period, these forces of nature, they lost their prominence, and new things have gained prominence. What are they? Brahma, Vishnu, the concept of Trinity. That is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, the creator, the protector, and the destroyer. Right? And as I said, language was developed, and this language, and say by 8th century AD, we have grammar books. Panini has written Ashtadhyayi and Sanskrit. So Sanskrit was a well constructed, well developed, purified language, right? And people were having knowledge of mathematics. Why? How can I say this? To perform yajna, they have to construct different, what should I say, yajna gundam or homa gundam, as a place where they can sacrifice, where they can perform some puja. So there were some rules as to how to construct this yajna gundam or vedika. The dimensions were mentioned. If something dimensions were mentioned, then we can say that they are aware of, at least if not pure mathematics, then some basic mathematics was known to them. They have mentioned what should be the length, what should be the breadth, what should be the depth. So they knew three-dimensional figures. Length, breadth, and depth. Is it not three-dimensional? I'm not just talking about a square or a rectangle. I'm talking about depth also. Three-dimensional figure. And they have also talked about space. They have talked about the what should I say, the grahas, nakshatras, that is the I'm not getting that word. What do you call them? The spatial answer, the objects in the space. They have talked about pole star. They have talked about the movement of Earth. They have talked about the movement of Moon and the revolution of Sun. They have calculated the solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. Okay, so they were having knowledge, but in different fields. Indus Valley people were good at engineering, good at business, town planning, but these people were good at astronomy, astrology, mathematics, philosophy, language, but not in civil engineering or town planning. So this was the culture of ancient India. We discussed about Indus Valley, we discussed about Vedic culture, right? So we'll discuss about the medieval Indian culture. What is the striking feature of medieval Indian culture? What is the time period of medieval Indian culture? When does it
8th
start? I said
century to 18th
8th to
century
18th
AD.
century.
AD. Correct. So what has happened in the 18th and 8th century? People started coming from other parts of the earth, that is from Arabia, Afghanistan. Of course, Afghanistan was also part of India at that time, but faraway tribes started coming to India. Correct. So people following other cultures from faraway places, from different regions, started coming to India. So Arabs started coming to India. Of course, prior to that, even Alexander came to India in the 3rd or 4th century BCE. But it did not affect that much our culture, whereas the coming of Arabs has affected our culture. We have learned many things from them, they have learned many things from us. So there was a uh, mixed culture or infusion of culture. So lots of changes have taken place. So how the people were, what was the culture, how things have changed, we'll discuss in my next class. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Any doubts or any point to make? Nothing?
No, sir.
So shall I sign off? I must say conclude the session. Shall I end the session?
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
sir.
thank you, class.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Class. Thank you, class.